and welcome to another edition of the Adrienne Ross Show on the BMG Network. That is the BMGnetwork.com, also on major podcast platforms and on YouTube. So I'm glad that you're tuned in today. And I would be remiss if I didn't say Happy New Year. This is the first episode of the new year, and I am excited about moving forward with the Adrienne Ross Show and having you move forward with me. So as it is the first episode of the new year, 2022, let's talk about this new year. Let's talk about 2022. And I'll start here by asking you a question. And that is, what is your expectation for this new year? Now, I know that there are many people who get excited about another year and they set their eyes on certain things. They make resolutions. They just get downright giddy about it all, the newness of it, you know? But I also know that there are people who don't. There are people who think, oh my goodness, please don't even go there with this New Year stuff. We do this every year and every year it's the same. And look, 2020 was a tough one, right? So then when 2021 came, there were people who were just like, oh my goodness, thank God for another year. And then 2021 proved itself to be maybe even more of a challenge. And so even now with 2022, there are people who are just like, look, I don't even want to hear it. And there are people who just have that attitude, period, you know, and I can understand that. Been there and done that. I totally get it, because just because the calendar rolls over doesn't necessarily mean things are going to change. However, I believe in expectations, and I believe that there is something to a new season of life, and that includes the change in the calendar, the change in the year. I believe that God is into change. He's into seasons and he's into times. In the Bible, you can find that in the Bible, times and seasons and days, and we call them hours sometimes. This is the hour in which we're living, or this is the day, or this is the time, this is the season. I do believe God is into that, just as he's into numbers and into names, and you know, he's a creative God. He's into time, seasons, names, dates, number. I mean, he's just amazing. And the more I'm walking with him, the more I'm seeing how creative and awesome he is. So I don't believe he takes lightly this new year we're in. And I know we've said it before. It's another year. It's great. It's going to be wonderful. And then we feel disappointed. But I do feel that there's something different about 2022. I do. I feel it in my bones. I'm already seeing aspects of it, and it's only the beginning of the year. But I do believe there's something about this year. Does that mean that everybody's going to experience some exponential, monumental, powerful, wonderful change? No, I don't believe that, because I don't necessarily believe that's for everyone. But I believe that there are many people. You're going to experience something that you've never experienced before. You're going to experience such a great change. And I'm not saying that even those people won't have difficulties and struggles and things, because actually people who are seeking God, many of them are saying that there will be many difficulties. And so you can take that for what it's worth, but you hear that a lot. But still, in the midst of that, I'm hearing that this is a good year we've stepped into, and that it's a year of fulfillment. Now, for those of you who are aware of biblical, prophetic meanings behind numbers, not talking about that new age stuff. I'm talking about prophetic, biblical stuff. You know that 22 represents revelation and light. It represents open doors as well. So 22, revelation, light, open doors. And I feel that deep within me, and I'm embracing that. And again, not everyone will embrace that, but I'm saying that for those who have faith in God, for those who are willing to embrace this 22 season, you can expect good stuff. Even in the midst of chaos that some people are saying what we're going to encounter, there's still a remnant, I believe, of people who are going to experience the favor of God, the presence of God, the blessings of God like never before. And I believe that there are things that are going to transpire that may at some time have taken 5 years to get to, and we might get to in 5 days. I just sense that this is something special in this 2022, and I'm claiming that for myself. So, there are people who experience this newness while other people stand on the outside looking in, doubting. And the people who experience this newness are people who believe, people who have faith, and then people who have enough faith and enough belief and enough expectation to actually put feet to their faith. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we sit around and we sense, okay, it's a new season, it's a new year, and then we expect things to just fall in our laps. We expect God to just show up and knock on our door or knock the door down and grab us by the hands and pull us out into this great new place in our lives. And very often that's not how it works. God opens doors. God puts doors in front of us for us to walk through. And then we have to believe enough to step through by faith. So what is it that you are believing for? I'm reading a book a friend gave me, and one of the assignments at the end of the chapter was to write out 100 dreams. 100 dreams. It's not some New Year's resolution. It wasn't a New Year's book. It was it's a book about prophetic intercession. But in this book, it talks about dreams. It talks about writing out, what is it that you're dreaming? Write out 100 of them. And the author, Emma Stark, says, I know that's a lot, but if I'd asked you to just write, 10 or 5 or whatever number she used, she said it wouldn't stretch you. I'm purposely stretching you on 100. So on the first day that I was doing this, I'm thinking 100. But on the first day, I just started jotting down various things. I stopped, because sometimes we read and the book says, okay, you should stop and do that. And we just keep it moving. We don't want to do it. We don't want to do the work, right? But I decided I wanted everything I could get out of this book. And so I said, you know what, before I move on, I'm going to at least start this list. And so I did. In the first day, I came up with, I wasn't planned, but it happened to be 22 dreams that I had. And I wrote that down. And there weren't dreams about this new year, 22, but they were just dreams. And then the next day I added a couple more, or not the next day, but the other day I added a couple more. And I will continue to do that, right? And so what about you? What is it that you have dreams about? What is it that you have? I mean, what are you dreaming? What's on your heart, And so maybe that's where you need to start in terms of embracing everything that's available in 2022, everything that's available in terms of open doors, in terms of light, in terms of revelation, in terms of the goodness that no doubt God wants to bestow upon people. What is it that's on your list? And then once you have that list, then maybe we can take it from there. Maybe at that point, then we can say, okay, let me turn my dreams let me pick a few and let me turn those dreams into goals. Or maybe let me turn those dreams into dreams that I'm going to pursue this year and narrow it down. I don't know how you want to do it, but what is it that you're willing to set your eyes on? Or are you just going to go from day to day to day? Because if that's what you are going to do, and again, we do take one day at a time, we take one step at a time. The Bible talks about that. That's important. But what I mean when I say take a day to day, I mean just the attitude that's like, well, whatever happens, happens. Whatever will be, will be. It's just another day, just another day. That's what I mean. So what is it that you're willing to set your eyes on and believe for in this new year, and not just embrace it as just another year? Because I'm telling you, this is not just another year. 2022 has unlimited resources, unlimited possibilities. If you can believe God, if you are walking with God, there are open doors. And there are miracles, there are signs, there are wonders for the people of God in this season. There's a turn, there's a shift from the old into the new. There's a shift from darkness into light. There's a shift from depression and sadness into joy and hope. It's right there for us. I'm telling you, you can take that to the bank, but it's not for everyone, but it is for those. And those of you who are listening, who felt that thump in your spirit or that leap in your spirit, it's for you. It's for you. And so I'm encouraging you in this first episode of 2022 to believe God, to trust Him, to draw close to Him, because that's key, to be in His presence and to allow Him to do the new thing. Do you believe Him? Are you willing to believe Him enough to even take a step forward in something? Be bold, be full of faith, be full of prayer, be full of wisdom, seek counsel if necessary, depending on, what this is about that you might be looking toward. But be expected and know that as you step out, you won't step out without the help of a God who loves you and has called you into this new season. There's a reason that you're here. There's a reason that you're here. And it's not just to just chill out. It's not just to chill out. It's to have faith. It's to have peace, yes. But it's also to know that you have an assurance that there's light, that there's revelation, that there are open doors, that there's a newness. And that as you step forward, you'll find that the Lord is stepping with you. It's not about God grabbing us and putting us in a headlock and making things happen and pouring everything out on our laps, but it's about us saying, Lord, I do receive, I believe, and I have to have expectation. You have to have faith. It's powerful. So I'm starting this year, as I said, with this episode, and it is one of encouragement, and it's one of deep faith, and it's one of deep expectation on my part. And here, listen to this. Sometimes we've got to stretch ourselves to other people so that they receive what they need and what they desire. What do I mean by that? I mean, how is it that you might pour into somebody else, pray for someone else, help someone else get their dreams, help someone else get their victory, walk in their newness, find their open door and walk through it. And I'm telling you that as you do that, you'd be surprised as you pour into others. You'd be surprised what you then see in their lives. But then how, as a friend recently said to me, God does a back at you. And then He pours into you, uses other people to pour into you. That if we would love on others, pray for others, it doesn't mean that we can't expect for ourselves. No, we should expect twice the blessing, the double portion, because God operates that way. You reap and you sow, and you always, I should say, let me reverse that. We'd like that, right? Reap and sow, but we do. It's a pattern. We do reap and sow, but we sow and then we reap, and you always reap more than you sow. So think about that. Think about others, but also don't leave yourself out. God has not forgotten you. This can be your year also. 2022, we're talking light, revelation, open doors as we build moving forward. So, Happy New Year to you. God bless you abundantly. I'll catch you on the next episode. But in the meantime, go to thebmgnetwork.com and check out the other podcasts. Go to the major podcast platforms and leave a rating and a review if you would. It would mean so much. And again, God bless you. The Adrienne Ross Show was produced and edited in the BMG studio. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod. Find more episodes of The Adrienne Ross Show at thebmgnetwork.com and major podcast platforms. Be sure to tune in regularly. You don't want to miss even one episode.